PHP parents and community. It's Carrie Ann Fitzgerald from the Program for the Development of Human Potential. I hope that everyone is doing well today, and it is a Mindful Monday for us. We are coming to the close of these. We've been working on this since March, so I hope that it has been beneficial. And I just wanted to take some time to go through some of the things that we had discussed when it came to mindfulness so that we could recall all of that. We could recall all of those benefits of mindfulness that we started to bring into mind. So I want you to think about how we start each workshop. We really take that preventative approach. We talk about our feet being flat on the ground. We talk about taking a deep breath in, feeling the chair beneath us, noticing maybe how we're feeling in the body, if there's any tension. Maybe even that housekeeping rule. When we're physically together, we talk about where the restrooms are. We talk about what to expect as length of time. We talk about maybe just getting comfortable, taking your jacket off, silencing your phone, and if you do need to take a call, stepping out. So things like that. There's a lot of little elements of mindfulness that go on. Of course, we talked about what mindfulness is in particular. We talked about why we perhaps need mindfulness, especially looking at all of the things that we focus on versus what we don't focus on, things that we're missing out on. It makes me think of when we're overusing our tech, how we kind of contaminate our time. We have that potential to lose that present moment with our loved ones or our coworkers or whoever it is we're with at the moment because we're busy looking at our screen or our watch or whatever it is. Thinking about how stress physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally affects us, knowing the predispositions that we have, and understanding that there are long-term effects, but also understanding that coping skills are really our way to go. And how do we learn those? How do we teach that to our kids? What are the ones that we choose? Because if we don't choose them, the brain will choose them for us. And sometimes those are not the most healthy of coping skills. We see excess. We see self-harm. We see even things like not properly eating, not getting enough sleep, turning towards drugs and alcohol. And of course, we're a prevention agency, so that's why we get concerned, and that's why mindfulness is such a great approach. And we've really seen it come full circle now when we're talking about the crises that we are living in. It's really kind of reared its head, to combat it with some mindful approaches. Noticing that our kids experience stress the same way we do. When we talk about it hitting us physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. Knowing that there's a normal process that goes on. We do get stressed and our body does react. How do we use that to our advantage? Also being aware that while one thing to us does not seem stressful, it could be extremely stressful to another person. Conversely, understanding that something that is calming for us can cause stress for another, and vice versa through all of it. Stress rears its head in many ways. We see it in work, we see it in school, we see it in change. We may take for granted, for example, that our 8th grade students, our high school students, graduation and moving to the next step is just a normal part of the process. But even that, even in an excited sense, it can cause a lot of stress. So being aware for that. This morning, I actually posted from Allison Colombo, one of the diocesan guidance counselors, a letter to parents and guardians about transition. And it kind of hit home for me because when I taught 8th grade, I remember we had to start addressing to the children. They would graduate, and then they were not officially part of the school on Monday morning when everyone else was coming in. Sometimes I would find my graduates at the doorstep, thinking that they were supposed to be there. And now we don't have this, it's a legality and all of this stuff. And, they had a hard time mentalizing the fact that I'm really not going to be in this space anymore. I'm really not going to be with these people anymore. I'm really not going to be with these teachers anymore. Like, this is really over. And I can't imagine how that feels for them now that they don't have that physical space. So just be very aware of that, okay? Thinking about our ways that we can find their self-care and looking at some of those practices we talked about, like apps that are calming, that help with sleep maybe, that help with meditation, that help with stress, that help with breathing, mindful eating practices, things that we tried on What's Good Wednesday, mindful breathing, invoking our senses for a grounding experience, using art, using our mindful jars, which I do want to share a really great video I have using a mindful jar, watching a school community through the eyes of a little girl using mindful jars. Kids have a natural connection to art, so allowing them that. Nature. And even if we can't get out in nature, we do have a lot of connection to nature. Even if we can't get out to nature, evoking it in different ways. Observing through our window, perhaps looking virtually at different areas of nature during this time where we cannot maybe go out. It's always best to get some time out. Even just walking around the block is a good thing. And again, our visualizations, our meditations, our spiritual practices are ways that we can find mindfulness, are ways that we can be relieved from stress and anxiety. I asked you to consider your daily routines, transitions through those routines, the use, underuse, overuse, however you say it, of technology. One thing I'm thinking of is things I need you to do before you can go on technology. And I don't mean for like school, I mean for socializing or gaming or whatever it is, or watching entertainment. Things to do first. Self-care routines, getting dressed, cleaning your room, hygiene, eating your breakfast, doing your chores, getting outside for a little bit, art, reading a book, maybe doing a little math project for over the summer. Doing these things before you go to technology. That should be the last option, perhaps. I know it's difficult now because there is a lot more connection that we can make on technology. Being aware of that routine in regards to nutrition. Do we have healthy snack options? Can we leave those sugary, carby items for a treat and not as part of a daily routine? How are we communicating? We really worked on communicating for a while. We talked about chore boards or, dry erase boards where we can write the things that are expected. We talked about conversations. We talked about breaks. We talked about self-talk, right? Reframing things. Maybe saying things a different way, listening a little more openly. A lot of work we've done. So I ask now, the last bit of work is your one thing. What's the one thing that throughout these few weeks of Mindful Mondays that you have taken, that you have felt is important, most important to you? Perhaps maybe it's that one thing that you want to commit to. You know what, Carrie Ann's right. I know that I need 30 seconds to have that nice sip of hot tea in the morning to myself. Maybe it's, sitting and saying, all right, at this time we're going to all take a walk around the block, whatever it is. What are the things that you're going to commit to, whether it's your self-care, because you know that your self-care will trickle down to your kids, or teaching them what their self-care practice can be. So comment below, let us know what's your one thing. And I hope the mindfulness has been helpful. I hope you're all well and safe, and I look forward to practicing mindfulness with you again in person soon, we hope, right? So I will see you on Wednesday, or I will be sharing a video with you on Wednesday, a little bit more about mindfulness and the mind jars. I hope you have a great day. Take it easy. Take care. Be safe and well. Bye-bye.